Sup guys and girls, Giovanni here. This is it. The time has arrived to finally talk about the crossover between Wizards Beyond Waverly Place and Vampirina Teenage Vampire. Without further ado, let's begin. So the episode begins with Vee and Demi chilling in the attic when a raven delivers a ravengram message telling them Vee that the Vampire Council will be coming to Wilson Hall because they think something has happened to the gargoyle since he never reported back to them. Vee brings up not only can they find out the gargoyle is broken, but her powers, it's fritzing. It's a good thing she is seeing not the vampire therapist, but a therapist for all monsters, Dr. Leguzzi. Vee is hoping the doctor can fix her fritzing. Demi brings up he and Bigfoot met in her lobby once. Remember, at least to my knowledge, the last time he appeared in the DSU was when he was on London's show in Zack and Cody. So I bet you when the government saw that, they went after him, which made him run to the wizard world. And then the government had to cover it up, saying it was a guy in a costume. London being stupid, she probably bought it. Later, Vee is in the wizard world on her way to meet the doctor. While in the air flying, she turns from a bat to a human vampire form. From that height, she is lucky she is a vampire. Billy is at the Ghoul Hound bus stop, waiting for the bus. Why is she there? Well, the only explanation I could come up with is that she is on her way home after visiting Narissa. Vee ends up smacking the ground and gets up and sees her old friend Billy. They haven't seen each other for a long time. While they catch up, Vee tells Billy her powers are fritzing. Billy suggests she can help her with the spell. Vee agrees. Billy goes on the Wizternet and grabs a spell, but it needs 4 singers to do it. So they head to Wilson Hall. Now, Wizard fans, let me know, has there ever been a singing spell? I'm sure there's been a spell that can make you sing, but you never had to sing it to make it work. When Billy and Vee get back to Wilson, they meet up with Demi. Billy and Demi also ignore each other as well. They haven't seen each other since. Demi wants to know how did it go with the doctor, but Vee tells her that the plans have changed. Sophie and Elijah come into the room and want to know who this girl is. Vee spills the beans and tells them that she is a wizard. Don't rant. Don't rant. You know, Vee said in the Christmas episode, she is a C+ secret keeper, but that's a lie. That's a lie.
He's a liar! That is a lie!
She's a D+. See what I did there? D+ secret keeper, because Britney before the memory wipe, Cody, Casey, Dean, the Spotlights, and Mariah have not found out that she's a vampire. She's just terrible, and even a terrible Secret Santa, which by the way, I did like the joke at first, but then they started overdoing it in the episode. Billy takes a closer look at Sophie to realize that she is DJ PJ. She is the only human DJ she listens to. Sophie had to put some of her music tracks online, and this makes her proud to know her aura has reached Staten Island. Vee's powers start fritzing again. That's when Billy and the gang start singing to do the spell. I do want to point out, Elijah flirts with Billy, but fails. Billy casts a spell and it works. Vee is no longer fritzing, only to find out it's worse than Vee can ever imagine, because Vee is now human. Demi says she can't meet Eugene, the Vampire Council member, like this because they don't trust humans, especially the ones who know where they live. Vee then spills the beans on where they live, which the gang have to call her out on. First, this is why the Wizards Council is at the top of the food chain in the government, because they ain't telling nobody where they live at. Second, I'm starting to wonder, is her being exposed to humans the reason she is bad at keeping secrets, or was she always bad at keeping secrets? If it's the first one, that would make sense, because she didn't need to hide herself in Transylvania and being in the wizard world. You know, let's be grateful Raven, Alex, Miley, Phil, and other Disney Channel characters didn't run into Vee because, you know, she will expose their identities. I wouldn't be surprised the characters slowly now wanted to tell her a secret because she would just expose it. Anyway, Billy tells them she is gonna fix it. She goes on the Wizternet to find a spell to reverse it, but it's gonna take a while because she got 800 results and she's gotta find the right one. In the meantime, Vee wants to do some human things with the gang while they wait. Sophie gives out some options, but Vee goes with the Elijah's option, which was they could finally eat outside with Vee's skin not catching fire. This proves what I said, that dust and ash are 2 different things. Ash comes after fire. Vee should be having lotion for both. See what I mean? The scene transitions to the gang outside, and I really do like this set. It's good to get a brand new location, and I hope it sticks around. Outside, the gang are eating lunch, and Vee starts experiencing some human traits: farting, sweating, and fullness. Billie meets up with the gang and tells Vee she found a reversal spell. I was surprised on how quick she was able to find one. No way she went through all 800 of those results. Nonetheless, this one also requires a 4-person crew to sing it, but it also needs someone to hit a high E, and none of them can hit it except for Britney. Elijah has to convince Britney to help, but she doesn't want to help, which sucks, cause come nighttime, Eugene has arrived and wants to meet with Vee. Billie tells them to stall and runs off, while Vee puts on the performance of her lifetime until she is undead again, while Eugene doesn't know she is a human. Vee says to Demi,
"It's the role I was born to play."
They meet up with Eugene and have brought Stoney with them. Eugene looks at Stoney and reveals his real name, Gargoyle number 5. It says he looks different, and instead of noticing all the tape and rubber bands, he only notices his bloodstone is missing, since that is what makes him talk. He puts it back in, and Stoney tells Eugene that Vee has so many secrets, and one of them is Vee isn't human anymore. Demi comes up with a quick plan, and with good timing, Demi is able to smash Stoney without Eugene noticing. Demi tells him, look at what he did. Despite that, Eugene wants to know what Stoney meant by Vee is no longer human. Elsewhere, Britney shows up after all to help the Boo gang. She meets Billie, and Billie tries introducing herself, but she doesn't care. In order to not reveal Billie is a wizard, Billie tells everyone to put their backs against one another, which works. Thus, the singing begins, and when singing, Britney does indeed hit that high E. Eugene puts Vee in the air, and if she can either turn herself into a bat or stop herself by floating, when he lets go of her, he will then know if she is still a vampire. Otherwise, when he lets go of her, she is gonna hit the pavement, proving she's a human. Billie arrives back to where Vee is, and she gives her powers back. Just in time, Vee hits the pavement and is done Mission Impossible style. Eugene apologizes and wonders what shall he tell the council. Vee says, tell them Stoney ran away. Eugene agrees to it and leaves. The episode cuts back to Britney, who is still singing, and once she is done, she tells Elijah, you're welcome, and then pushes her hair in Elijah's face. Elijah goes after her, and they have a talk on the outside set. This was the secondary plot of the episode, where Britney was mad at Elijah for not going to the Renaissance Fair, which they do every year, but Elijah had to help Sophie and Vee, and because he couldn't go, she didn't want to go. Britney would basically give him the angry silent treatment, which explains why she didn't want to help at first when Elijah came to her outside needing her for help. When Elijah and Britney are outside, they are having a heart-to-heart, and Britney feels they are growing apart, as Eli, which I'll be calling him from now on, is always hanging out with the Boo gang, but Eli clarifies they will never grow apart. See it as their worlds are expanding. Britney and Eli are so close that when Britney dies and gets the riches from her parents, she's setting up a trust fund for him. Eli tells her that she'll always be his day one. Do you know why? Because they are.
They're beautiful people.
When you write, you write.
I do enjoy the relationship between the two, and I'm still going off the theory that they've been best friends since kindergarten. The two grab arms together and leave. Billie and Vee say the goodbyes to one another, and before Billie leaves, she tells Vee she could tell Eli likes her. Vee gives her DJ PJ pajamas, which looks alright to her. Vee hopes she can visit her at Staten Island, and Billie says sorry for not being able to fix her fritzing. They hug, and just before Billie enters the mirror, she tells her to watch out for it as something feels off. Vee nods her head with Billie going through it. After Billie leaves, a crack forms on the mirror, to which Vee responds with, she's gonna tell Demi a gnome did it. Vee then leaves the attic, but not before putting on a hat so nobody sees her bad ears. And just when you think that could have been the end of the episode, it continues on. So, at the end of the episode, Vee finally visits Dr. Leguzzi and wants to know what is up with the fritzing. Leguzzi goes on to say that the reason her powers have been fritzing is because she's been away from Transylvania for too long. Young vampires maintain their powers by being around other vampires. Demi is happy to hear this because all she needs to do is head back home for a little while. But Leguzzi clarifies no, she would have to go back home forever. And if she doesn't, she could lose her powers or die. Vee starts crying, then asks, why did the Vampire Council allow this? The thing is, not only was she the first vampire to leave Transylvania in centuries, but they didn't know this was gonna happen. She has till the end of the semester to leave. Then Dr. Lugosi gives Vee a bucket full of cockroach lollipops to try to cheer her up, ending the episode. Now, there's nothing contradictory to the vampire lore. Here's how. If you are a vampire and was not born in Transylvania, you don't have to worry about this. A vampire doesn't need to be around other vampires for the powers to not work, nor would they fritz. However, if you were born in Transylvania and leave when you're young, then that's a problem. The vampires that would leave would be when they're older. By the time they left, they've already adjusted to their powers and wouldn't have to worry about it. Hence why the council have never had this problem before. But I know, there have been other teenage vampires that have left Transylvania before, so wouldn't have this problem come up before as well? Let's say the teenage vampires in the past were like 17 and on the cusp on hitting adulthood. So when they left at that age, their powers wouldn't fritz because they're basically an adult. I'll even add, maybe their powers didn't fritz as much to the point where they didn't have to tell the council. Speaking of the past, let's talk about the present and the timeline of this episode. First, Wizards started in 2026 thanks to Justin's age. Then season 2 starts in 2027. And with that, the Vampirina show will then premiere with the show taking place in 2027. So with that, the Halloween and Christmas episodes are in 2027. So this episode has to take place after both Christmas episodes. And from the Wizards' point of view, this has to take place between it's beginning to look like Wizmas and Boogie and the Beast. And if I were to give a date, it would be January 2028, while the dance happens in April or May. In a sense, this will explain why Billie is so happy. It's because she just had a great Christmas. Or let's say the dance is in late May. I would then put the crossover in early May to coexist with the line Eli says in episode 14, which was, let's make the best of the next few weeks we got. I do heavily prefer the second option. So let me know your thoughts on that. Now, I want to tell you, did the crossover do the 3 things I expect from a crossover? Well, number 1, did they build up to the crossover? No, they did not. 0 out of 10. Imagine how important the scene of Billie meeting Sophie would have been had they shown during season 2 Billie listening to Sophie's music. Number 2, was the crossover itself good? Well, my grade for the episode 12, is a 7.9 out of 10. Number 3, was there any ramifications from the crossover? Did the characters take anything from what they learned from it and use it for their individual shows? Vampirina. The show's not quite over yet, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. The reason for that is Billie told her to look out for the mirror, and I know she will. Wizards, I'm gonna give it 0 out of 10 because Billie didn't use anything from this. Heck, she used the whiffs in there, and Justin said this is why you don't use spells from online. They go bad. So why would she do it? Guess she didn't learn a lesson from Milo's gumball incident.
I wonder why Dad doesn't want us to use random spells we find on the Wisternet.
Also, Billie was not shown wearing Sophie's pajamas. But that's all I gotta say about that. I look forward to the next time the characters meet. Maybe they'll eat some chocolate cake too, because Billie kept referencing wanting to eat chocolate cake in this episode, yet she never got it. There was never any payoff. Anyway, Janice and Kenzie had good chemistry with one another, and I think it's because they are friends with one another in real life. So with that being said, get your fingers up and say it with me. If they had combined both names and let that be the episode title, it would be Wizards Beyond the Waverly Teenage Vampire. Bye.